Well, welcome back to Briar-Side Chat. Pretty excited. We got the North Georgia Piper, the man, the myth, the legend himself. Got Mr. Skyler Grimes on here. Skyler, why don't you tell everybody what you got going in terms of tobacco and a pipe while I get mine lit? I've got my Georg Jensen Bent Dublin today. It's a black pipe, therefore I've got the Back in Black blend from buddy David Meese. Which is a blend of, Captain Black Royal and Gold and something else. Backwoods Original. So anyhow, that's what I've got going. I'm going to get this lit. Why don't you tell everybody what you got going on?
I'm smoking this afternoon my Brewer. It was a straight Rhodesian. And in it, I have some Granger here. And I'm using my Zippo.
Okay, so you're using your Zippo, which I see has got a nice American flag on there. I've got a basic, pipe Zippo there. I want to ask you a question. Do you have more than one lighter?
Yes, sir, I do. So this actually is not my typical pop lighter.
Okay.
This has got a standard insert in it. I have a black Zippo with a pipe insert that I use most of the time. This one I just had fueled up from 4th of July.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
I've actually had this lighter since I was 15 years old.
So, in addition to pipe acquisition disorder, which I clearly have a bad case of, and I may be getting into tobacco acquisition disorder as well, I so far have stayed away from lighter acquisition disorder. But there are some cool lighters out there, and I see people have lots of different ones, and some people collect those as well. I didn't know if you were one of those guys that had multiple or not. I just have this one, unless I take, like, I flew recently to Florida, had to buy a Zippo down there, or a Bic down there, and but this is the only one I've got.
I've got two Zippos, and I have a old boy lighter that.
Oh, really?
When I first started smoking a pipe, and I have a Amazon butane lighter. It works quite well. That my wife actually got me. So okay. I have 4, maybe 5, I believe.
Okay. That's nice. Now, if you can, show us that Rhodesian again. I was busy lighting this thing, and I wanted to get a better look at. You know what? So I love that. That's a shape I don't have. I don't have a Bulldog or a Rhodesian, and I really do like that shape a lot. That's one that's on the list, and the mental list of something I want to get a hold of. And what brand or make is that?
This is a Brewer. So if I am not wrong, by looking it up, these pipes, a lot of them, or this one at least, was actually made in the 1950s.
Really?
They were not finished. So they were just a raw briar with the stem. And they were found, I believe, in the 2010s. And a gentleman went and finished them. And they have the original stem. So this pipe is actually unsmoked from the 1950s, but it was finished in the 21st century.
And where did you get a hold of that?
I got this at smokingpipes.com.
Okay, great site. Yeah, great site there. So you got your Georgia Peach hat on.
Yes, sir.
Cool. North Georgia Piper there. It's interesting to me the number of people that when they share the pipe stuff on YouTube, but also I've seen this on Facebook as well, really like to connect their region where they are. We were up in Michigan recently. I was posting a picture online. Guy messaged me and says, "Hey, we got a Michigan Pipers group here on Facebook. If you know, so that you're North Georgia. I'm trying to think some of the other Carolina Rose, of course. I feel like there's somebody with Tennessee in his name on YouTube. So are you born and bred Georgia?
Yes, sir. Born and bred in North Georgia, Northwest to be exact. I was actually raised in a town called Rossville, which is right on the state line with Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Okay.
But I spent my entire life in Chickamauga.
Okay. Very, very nice. And I was looking at your channel again here recently, and some congratulations are in order. You just finished your college degree. Am I correct?
Yes, sir, I did back in May.
What was that in, if I may ask?
I have a Associates of Applied Science in Drafting Technology with a mechanical engineering drafting specialization.
Very nice. Very nice. And are you using that now? Is that part of what you do, or are you hoping to get into that line of work?
Well, actually, I am not using it. My job currently is along the lines of civil drafting, 3D modeling, and electrical drafting. So I'm not using the mechanical part of it, but the technology part I am.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And you mentioned your wife, and you've got a little boy who also figured in one of your videos here recently.
Yes, sir.
Daddy's little helper there.
He sure is.
My brother, I got to tell you, the best word in the English language, and there may be some mothers who would want to challenge me on this, but they are wrong. The best word in the English language is daddy.
It sure is.
Oh my goodness, ours are older. Our son just graduated, like you, here in May, and then our daughter is a sophomore in college. And but boy, I remember those days of coming home and just a little one come running to the door, knock you down, big arms out there, and then daddy. Like,
It's great. Yes, sir. Well, I actually haven't hit the daddy stage yet. My son is under 2, so I'm still at the dad stage.
no.
And actually, yesterday we were at my parents' house, and my father, so my son's grandfather, said, "Where's your daddy at?" And he turned around and said, "My son turned around and said, Daddy?" I said, no, we're still dad. We're still at that baby stage." So I got on to my dad a little bit, said, "Don't make him go up any faster than he has to."
Well, I'll tell you,
But
it goes fast.
on his own.
Because as far as I'm concerned, it was about last week that our children were saying that to me. And like I say, they're now up there. And so you better believe it goes fast. And just, you think about the things that as parents, and you're on the front end of this journey now. What are some of the things you're looking forward to sharing with your little guy, introducing him to, teaching him? What are some of those things that you kind of, as you're smoking a pipe and you're fantasizing and daydreaming, what are some of those things?
Well, the biggest thing is actually a big key component of who I am, and that is the love of the great outdoors. And from watching your channel, I know that's a lot of to do with you as well. You love that as much as I do, but I want to show him just how to respect nature and take care of it. I grew up in Boy Scouts, so you can have a lot of fun and adventure in nature, but leave it better than you found it.
Yes.
So just the good basis of it. I can't stand when I go out to these parks to see piles of trash. And so I look forward to teaching him just to make it better.
100%. 100% agree with that. As you said, you've seen on my channel, we'd like to hike, especially the Indiana state parks. And just recently, we were up in Michigan, in St. Joseph, Michigan, right there on Lake Michigan. Some really nice beaches, public park beaches, this kind of stuff. Really enjoying it. And we were we've been there before. This wasn't our first time there, but we just were bothered by some of the trash that we saw. And it wasn't tremendous, it wasn't that bad. But you'd see wrappers or caps or whatever, and you go, okay, well, I can acknowledge maybe a bag flies out of your stuff as you're picking up clear. That happens. But not that much. Some of that had to have been just plain old carelessness. And as I was saying to the family, I said, if you enjoy a place enough that you want to go spend time there, like the beach or the woods or whatever. Why would you not want to take care of that? You know,
Exactly.
that just doesn't make any sense to me. So, although I'll tell you a story, we have there's an orchard near here called Stuckey Farms, and mostly apples, and they got other stuff too. But you can you can get the stuff that they've picked and cider and blah blah blah. But you can also go out and pick your own. So when the kids were little, we're out there, we're picking some apples, and I'm eating one. And so I thought, I'm going to pull a trick here. So we're walking along, and I get down to the end of my apple, and it's just the core, right? And they're a couple steps behind me, and I just pitched it right out onto the dirt. And immediately, Daddy, what are you doing? You can't do that. I'm just kidding. Just wanted to get their reactions. So how long you been into pipe? You mentioned the lighter you've had since you were 15. How long have you been into pipes?
I've been smoking a pipe. It was 1 year on February the 20th of this year.
Okay.
So just over a year now.
What got you into it?
Really, the need to slow down was what first started it. I'm in my mid-20s. I'm 25 years old, so it's easy to get wrapped up in the bustle with a young family, moving. And I had a life event last year that happened that just made everything stop, and I realized how fast I was moving. And so that is what made me realize I needed to slow down. Now, the reason I chose the pipe, I will put towards the fact that I am very much an old soul and love older things. Like I said, I'm from the state line of Georgia and Tennessee, but a lot of people don't know, but Chickamauga was one of the major Civil War battles
Sure. Oh,
in
yeah.
this region. And so I grew up where I would walk out on my front door of my house, and just a mile down the road was a tower, Wilder Tower, which was the fire tower when the Women's Corps of Engineers was in Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia.
Huh.
But that is the national park. So that old soul, always being around history and the need to slow down.
History and the need to slow down. I'll tell you what, you've given me an idea for an upcoming episode. I've talked a lot about the slowing down aspect and the kind of meditative aspect, and a number of people have even talked, commented, and they've even shared on Briar-Side chats. People will pray while they're smoking a pipe or read their Bible or something like that. But especially the history part, the connection with history, I like that. And obviously, these things go back a ways, and we find the old pictures of people from an earlier generation, and it kind of keeps that connection. Yeah. So I see you got some. Looks like you got some rods and lines going on there. You must be a fisherman as well.
I am anything to do with outdoors, fishing, hunting, camping, hiking, caving. I've done a lot of it. So
Nice. We've got to get our kids. We have yet to really. I take that back. I think we've maybe done one cave over the years with them. I'd like to get them into some more caving. Now, my wife's dad loved fly fishing. Lived here in Indiana. Had a spot he liked to go to out in Missouri, Bennett Springs. And it's kind of in the south central part of the state, if I'm remembering that correctly. I think it's a state park, but my wife and I, was before we had kids, but we went out there with him. But the neat thing about my father-in-law is he actually made some fly rods. Now, a lot of guys will tie flies, which he did that too, but he also made some fly rods. He never sold anything. He just would give them as gifts, but he did a nice job, and I know he gave one to my wife.
that is really neat. I've never gotten in a fly fishing. But a guy I went to high school with was in the United States Youth Olympic fly fishing team.
Really?
And I saw a lot of his stuff that he posted and the places he went. I've just never taken the time to learn how to do it, but it's very interesting.
Well, I'd probably only ever held a rod of any kind a couple of times in my life when I was little. And here I am newly married with my wife, and we go out there to Missouri and met her dad, and he showed me, taught me how to do it. But you want to talk about slowing down? Well, fishing in general is a slow activity, but certainly the fly fishing, there's just a beauty to it. Just trying to get that fly out there nice and gentle on the water, and get that light little strike out there to imitate some sort of a bug, and it is a beautiful sport. So tell
That's
me,
the
we're going to start to wrap her up here, but tell us a little bit about your channel. And we'll put a link on there when this comes out. But North Georgia Piper is who you are on YouTube. And what are some of the highlights, just in terms of your experience of hosting a YouTube channel? What have been some of the things you've really enjoyed about that?
the number one thing is probably one of the reasons I started a YouTube channel, and that was to just share my experience of smoking a pipe, if not with anybody, with my son and my future children, so they can always look back at, how dad did it, what dad thought about it, and so on.
Yeah.
But that's the original. How it's changed over time is my interaction with other people, meeting people such as yourself that are so far away geographically.
Yeah.
But we can do this right here on technology.
I will say, I think that's the coolest thing. People from around the United States, even outside the United States. There's the one fellow over there. He's in North Yorkshire, England. Piper X1X. I love that. And you're right. Just the technology makes it easier, and honestly, for us all to learn from each other. I'm really right at about the same amount of time as you. I just passed the year mark of being into pipes about a year ago, and boy, I've learned so much from guys who've done this longer, and how to pack and what you're looking for in terms of all that kind of stuff. So it's been good. Well, Skyler, it's good to have you on. I always say we try to keep these in the shorter range, because you know how people's attention spans are. They're not going to watch a long video anyhow. So. Well, blessings to you and your family, and whatever you keep doing with your degree there, your studies, and keep on piping, my friend.
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.